Salutations, this is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David.
Hi, Jeff.
We are playing Dark Souls 3.
Yay!
Do you remember that game? I remember that game. We are in Anne Orlando.
Yeah.
It's from Dark Souls 1.
Yeah. Are we playing Dark Souls 3? Or are we just playing Dark Souls 1?
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
At this point,
Yes, it
same
is.
thing. We are headed into Nostalgia Town for a thing that came out like only 5 years ago. But
Well, I have completely forgotten his name. The director of this game. Miyazaki?
Yeah, Miyazaki.
I was like, Hidetaka Toriyama?
I was like, Hidetaka and no. Wait, no, that's we don't need to talk about Evangelion. We're fighting Aldrich, who is an Eldritch horror.
Right, and is a great boss design as far as aesthetically speaking.
Yes, it is a giant worm thing, and you're standing in his effluence. It's gross.
Yes, and
he's eating one of the bosses from Dark Souls 1.
Yes, which is where all the fancy sparklies are coming from.
I got hit. He doesn't have very many attacks, though, so I'm just kind of going to wail on him with my fire sword.
Right.
That would be Gwendolyn from 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, we killed Gwendolyn. It doesn't really matter. It's like, technically killed Ornstein as well, and all these other things that appear in different places in Dark Souls 3, but I digress.
Right.
Anyways, storyline-wise, he's eating it because he's Aldrich, the Devourer of Gods. It's disturbing. We're already in phase 2.
Right.
So in phase 1, the arrows go forward. In phase 2, the arrows follow you around. But you can just do a quick, circle. Not like too small of a circle, otherwise you'll just get caught in it because it turns really fast. But eventually it'll stop turning and just keep going straight forward. The rest of the attacks in phase 2, you can tell it's phase 2 because it's on fire, and he leaves fire trail. Also, these little things just kind of appear, float around, and then go to your location a few seconds later.
Right.
I really wanted him to use his... he only has like 2 other main attacks, maybe 3. This one he's doing here, which is just kind of just put a bunch of, I don't know, homing soul masses around everywhere. Individually, they don't do very much damage.
But when you get pegged with all of them at once, you die. Yeah.
The arrow rain is pretty much an instant kill for most characters if you get hit by it. This is the fire lunge, which, it's telegraphed and he just kind of goes forward.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's,
you can take damage from the fire on the ground, but
it's not enough damage to really care.
Yeah, the one attack that he didn't, for some reason he was spamming arrows most of the time.
Right.
And he'll do like slashes at the front. He can also do a scythe attack, but unfortunately he's only going to use the scythe attack and the laser sort of one time. I was kind of waiting for him to try and do it again because you can actually do 2 of those instead of just 1.
Right.
But he ended up not doing it. But anyways, that is the other one of the other major attacks. It's just, straightforward kind of standard laser thing going on.
Right. And if you're aggressive enough with your R1s, you will not see the majority of them because you can
if you're aggressive with your R1s,
this guy
you
what
pretty much
down
don't
good.
see this. Yeah. That was not expecting that. I was like, wait. I thought he was going underground. That was not true. I guess that's also technically a different attack, but
yeah, one thing
going under. There he goes. Yep. Teleporting back down. I guess going into the goo.
Yeah, one thing that watching a bunch of distortions, speed runs of this game, is just like how almost all the bosses, not all, but almost all the bosses are completely neutered just by R1 spam.
There we go.
There it was. The
scythe
spinny
occasionally turns into the scythe and does kind of like a 360 or maybe like a 720.
No scope.
Also when it goes, it goes down in the ground. There's an AOE. So I mean, this is a video game boss.
Right. He's got an AOE shockwave. Yeah. Except you can't jump over it. So.
Yeah, that's true. There isn't quite a part where he rears back and then rushes forward and then you dodge to the side and you get stuck in the wall. That's the only way. It's not like a true video game boss.
Right.
But he did.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of the bosses from now on are going to be very easy. They were already kind of easy.
Right.
This is another sort of problem. I don't know. It's not that huge of a problem because honestly, at this point, I was just like, that's fine.
There's
I mean,
one
I've talked
hard
about
boss
it before.
left.
There's two hard bosses. One is the last boss, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then one is a sort of an optional boss. Is like even harder than the last boss, which is good. This is like a optional. It's almost like a good proper Final Fantasy style like weapon boss. Because that was the last of the Lords of Cinder, we get auto teleported down to the boss room for the next episode, which will be the Dancer. Which the Dancer looks awesome, and the Dancer has great armor.
Right, yes.
But much like the Bloodborne DLC, I hate
and the Dancer
going from one boss fight right into the next because I like exploring. Yes. And technically you could fight the Dancer at any time after... Yeah, you could actually fight it almost as the first boss.
Like I did.
You could do that, yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you meet her, you
Udex,
can kill... I mean, other than Udex. As soon as you meet her, you can kill her and take the thing, and then the Dancer is super pissed.
Yep.
And
I like the Dancer's look a lot. So it's one of the more unique designs, I feel like. Especially since, as the name implies, it's more animation-y. Very fluidy.
Right,
but it's also
it's fluid.
Okay, I'm gonna say this is one of the hard bosses. I'm gonna say Dancer is definitely a pain.
Right, Dancer.
But we'll talk about it when we get there. Aldrich is not. Aldrich is just kind of like, magic users.
Right.
Lol.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I will say that the things that I really liked about Aldrich, aside from, I mean, it was funny that you had to point out to me that it was Aldrich eating Gwendolyn, because I didn't notice that until after I killed
pick up on
Aldrich.
that either. I was just kind of like, okay, I guess Aldrich is just Gwendolyn, but like weirder, I guess.
Right. There's a guy on YouTube, and I've talked about him before, where he just uses cheat engine and a whole bunch of other things, and he just kind of wanders around Aldrich eating Gwendolyn, and it's aesthetically like they nailed that fantastic boss, but it's boring. It's boring after an area that felt really
I didn't like it.
fan
I didn't like
servicey.
Analondo at all.
And,
I got there and it was starting to disappoint, which is sad because again we're talking about degrees here. Dark Souls 3 is a very fun game, and it's very fun to play with other people, co-op it. But I don't know, it's there's too much. It's relying too much on its past.
Right. I feel like this game, and more than a lot of sequels that I've played, was just not made for me. Because I feel like it was made for people who hated Dark Souls 2.
That's kind of what it felt like. Yeah.
It was made. Yeah, it was made for people who are like, well, Dark Souls 2 was too different. They didn't do all the things I wanted them to do. They changed too many things. And some of the decisions weren't great. The fact that Dark Souls 2 has 44 frickin' bosses isn't necessarily the best. But like, I liked the fact that they tried a whole bunch of different things. And then Dark Souls 3 was just like, all right, people complained about this, so we're going to make the game for them, which happened to not be us. Just because I like new things. It's one of the reasons why it's one of the reasons why I like the Final Fantasy games. Just in general, because they have core components, but they just try crap and then they see what sticks.
Sometimes the things should stick and are awesome, but then they don't bring them back ever.
I'm talking about
the beautiful, beautiful junction system from Final Fantasy VIII?
The horrible, broken Frankenstein train wreck.
It's just like a beautiful old baby. It was just misunderstood.
It is a beautiful baby with tentacles for arms and a dragon face for
some sort
for
of
a head.
high-powered mutant, never considered for mass production.
Yes, it is
one of God's very own prototypes.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were gonna. Yes,
I don't remember the order of it, but it's something like that.
It's one of God's very own prototypes. Oh shoot, I used to know it. Oh, whatever. We're quoting a thing.
Weird to live. Hold on. Nope.
It's too weird to die.
Okay.
I think. Too unique to live, too weird to die, something like that?
Something like that. I'll just look up a stupid quote.
I mean, you can. That's fine.
Too weird to live. Too rare to die. Too
rare to die?
Wikipedia article. Oh, that's because it's a studio album from Panic at the Disco. It was just called that. No, I was more for the...
more for the movie
reference. Well, I mean the book reference. Yeah. I guess it's the book reference. But...
Right.
That's Fear and Loathing, right? Yeah, it's Fear and Loathing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Fear and
Loathing.
Loathing.
There he goes. One of God's own prototypes. A high-powered mutant of some kind. Never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live and too rare to die. I got most of it. It's fine. Okay. Anyways.
You did. We got the
I never finished that movie. It was too boring.
Wow. I have only seen snippets of it.
Finished watching Naked Lunch, okay?
I don't even know what that is.
It's another weird movie about drugs.
Oh, is that what Fear and Loathing Las Vegas is about?
It's a weird movie about drugs, yes.
Okay, good.
And it's like unreliable narrators and psychedelic and Terry Gilliam directing and lots of people in costumes and hallucinations and stuff. Right. Whatever. I did not enjoy it. Naked Lunch is kind of the same in that, except this one's by Cronenberg, so there's more terrifying body horror.
Great. Yay.
With a guy that gets addicted to roach pesticide and writes on a typewriter that he thinks is a living roach typewriter that he pleases by typing well, and also it talks to him and wants to recruit him for a secret organization to try and fight the evil roach typewriters that other writers in the area have. It's a strange movie.
Yes.
It is. I can't recommend it necessarily.
Because it's bad?
Not necessarily it's bad. I don't know. It's hard to... It's not good.
Oh,
I guess.
Okay.
It's weird, but not... I don't know. It's not the kind of weird that I find interesting. Mostly because movies that are predominantly about drug use, I just find depressing. So...
Well, yeah.
Because it's not it's not really about the weird story and body horror so much it is this guy that's lost complete touch with reality because of the excessive amounts of substances he's using.
Right.
You're I guess Scanner Darkly would be an exception, even though it's mostly about drugs.
Never saw it.
It's good. Scanner Darkly is also good.
It's apparently a fantastic book.
For a Dream.
Never saw
example. People being miserable and substance abuse. Train Spotting. These are all just kind of ultimately depressing movies.
I'm trying to think. Is there an ultimately depressing movie that I have seen? Time Bandits. That ended kind of sad.
I've seen Time Bandits? I don't remember anything about Time Bandits.
All I remember about Time Bandits is how the conflict was resolved, which I won't say because it's actually a decent movie as I remember. I remember enjoying it, and the fact that at the end of it, it's just well, your parents held the darkness, and then poof. And it's not important at all to the movie, and then it's just the character winked knowingly and then drove away, but are his parents dead?
Or erased from existence? They gone to the nothingness?
What? I'm so what?
It's another Terry Gilliam joint. Unsurprisingly,
really?
Yes. It has a very Monty Python-esque ending.
How so?
I feel like that ending is just kind of like a bizarre non sequitur.
Well, so there are two ways of seeing the ending.
Maybe not quite as non sequitur as Holy
Well,
Grail.
I mean, no, not quite. Well, when I say two ways of seeing there are kind of two endings as I remember it. Granted, the last time I watched the movie all the way through was like 15, 20 years ago, somewhere in that range. I remember there's the resolution of the conflict of the plot, like the main point of the Time Bandit adventure. There's that resolution, and then there's like the ending, both of which are really weird, and I liked both. But the way the conflict resolved was very. Now that you've said that, it is very Monty Python-esque, whereas in the other one it's just like I'm just confused. I felt more like I was watching Krull than I was watching Monty Python.
There you go. This makes sense because Terry Gilliam is in Monty Python.
Yes.
He's the only American in Monty
Python. I should know that, but I didn't know that. So good.
An animator for their weird, like, cutout animation stuff. Anyways, I like Terry Gilliam. Yeah. He's done some good stuff. I like Brazil.
Like what?
I like
Brazil.
I like
he was
12
Brazil.
Monkeys,
okay.
You know.
I know how Brazil ends.
Brazil is
just because
it was better on the first watch than on the second. Because on the second watch, I am not a fan of British whimsy, so there is a certain amount of it's a type of humor where there's just like, oh, it's hilarious bureaucracy and look at all these nonsensical things that are happening, but our main character is just like, what's going on? And no one seems to think it's weird. And it's usually just like very frustrating.
Right.
Especially the double was I couldn't finish watching the double for the same reason because it had that same kind of tone.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say there's other good movies that have this tone that kind of make repeat viewings not as great, like Synecdoche, New York. I would say has a similar kind of tone.
So I'm going to use an example that I know because I have seen none of those things.
Fair enough. None of those were even movies. I was just saying words.
Okay, good, fantastic. So in a show that you love a lot, I know that you love it a lot because you keep telling me how much you love it. Farscape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There is a.
I really love Muppets like a lot.
They're fantastic.
I mean, I do like Muppets.
They're fantastic. It's a compelling story full of great characters. You shut up. No, I'm sorry, what?
I mean, I don't disagree, but what about Farscape?
Oh, God, you suck.
The old switcheroo?
There's an episode of Farscape where the main character is in a situation similar where things are just crazy. They're getting weirder and stranger, and they're making less and less sense. It's not necessarily presented as a British whimsy kind of thing, but it's actually fairly funny how it ends, how it's all breaking apart. And then they actually like justify it and explain it in a way that's fun. And then I won't spoil the resolution on it, but it was just like a fun, like, we want to have all these characters do something stupid, and so we're going to justify it and make it a little terrifying and crazy at the end of it, just so it's just like, oh, it's not just this fun little like, what if they all got high kind of episode that you know, like sequel or shows tend to do. I just went through all the wrong nouns for that thing.
That's right.
All right,
got there eventually.
So
I would say like another British whimsy that I can actually get behind because it doesn't go too far in one direction or the other would probably be like Hitchhiker's Guide.
Right, I think because
it has a similar British humor style naturally.
Right, yeah,
and it does have that same effect of just like, here's just like a dopey everyman. There's kind of like, what's going on, and like all these other people are just doing very bizarre non sequitur things, seemingly, especially with like the Planet of Hats style aliens and their silly whatever, like their death poetry and like their making planets for order and whatever the silly stupid stuff is. But there's still a sort of underpinning of logic in this case. Literally illogic is the logic that pins it together, probability, but whatever. So the probability drive being explained as an actual construct, I find very interesting. It makes everything else kind of hold together a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that everything in Hitchhiker's Guide is grounded in something, and it's internally consistent with everything.
Yeah,
it's not just wacky to be wacky.
Yeah, because there's no reason that one kind of silly vision of a sci-fi future is less or more silly than another. It's just sort of a cultural thing.
Right.
You can envision any kind of alien society. It's just that you can look at it through a lens of, oh, that's just, stupid parody, or, that's silly, or, you can go like super serious and have it just be like, oh, it's unknowable and vast, or you could just go Clark and, just like, they're actually God,
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yes. Okay.
What, if you are a...
Whoop.
Just calm down. Calm down, David. All right.
That was me accidentally kicking over my shredder. Whoops. That was under my desk. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I might need a new shredder, but...
Maybe. I think we've come to the end of the episode.
So yeah, if you
that's good. That's good. I was going to go on another. I feel like I've done that before. Another tirade on the supposed atheism of modern sci-fi, just replacing God with aliens. But I've already done that before.
I think you have. I know we've had that conversation.
Well, maybe it was recorded, maybe not, but we can do that another time.
Yeah.
There's the thesis statement.
Right. Yeah.
It's sort of an athesis.
An atheist? No.
Yep. Get it?
Yeah. I tried to run with it and then just fell over and plowed my face into the dirt. Yeah. So if you like hearing me stumble over words and Jeff actually articulate sentences that mean things to people who speak English,
sometimes
you can please consider giving to our Patreon, which is something that enables us to do this, or at least devote more time to it. In my case, that'll be more realistic when I'm not getting married. Also, we are going to start having a tip option. If you just want to give us a one-time thing through PayPal, we would also greatly appreciate that. This money is going back to the channel, so we can do more stuff.
Buy ads, or like get games if we were playing games for the channel, or get, in your case, like get software, so you can
Reaper,
actually,
which I'm recording right now.
You can record things and
not use Audacity anymore.
So yeah,
have options. Audacity's great.
It's free. That's very good.
Yeah. I mean, I only ran into problems with Audacity when I was trying to multi-track guitar and bass stuff and vocals.
Dark Souls. Forever.
Until we die.
And then we'll come right back, get the bonfire, and continue Dark Souls.
Then it's Kingsfield.
That's okay. And Shadow Tower. Shadow Tower is really good too.
I still need to play Shadow Tower.
Why are we whispering?
I don't know.
I'm gonna find. Wait, this is the button that stops the recording.